Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Outsiders.
I'm Seth Austin.
You're Seth Austin? I'm Seth
And-
Austin.
And I'm Todd Pickering. We're a couple of
Actors
stuck
on the outside
trying to make our way
to the inside
of
the biz.
the biz.
Hollywood, baby.
Baby. Hey, baby. How you
my
doing,
God.
baby?
How am I doing, baby? I have no idea what just happened. I'm confused. I am...
That was called improvisation for those people out there. That was called an acting exercise, which had no rules. So
no rules, no goal, no anything. Just a bunch of...
give us some pointers by emailing us, won't you?
Pointers by email are what we live off of these days.
We need help.
Without them, we will
Talk to
cease
us.
to... I get pointers. I'm asked for pointers via email, therefore I am. A wise man once said that. So please, we're begging you. We are begging you. We are down.
I'm on my knees right now.
I am on my butt, literally, on my floor in my living room, asking you to please.
You sit on the floor doing
I
this?
sit on the floor. I sit kind of cross-legged. I kind of shift. Yeah, because it's just with the light, everything. I have to have the light in a certain. It's a long. My apartment is very limiting. My apartment's very limiting with space and stuff, so I have to get very creative.
Seth, give them the email right now.
Oh my God, I'm digressing already. It's The Outsiders, BIZ @gmail.com. Please email us.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Ask us about something. Ask us for feedback. We love you. Stay strong.
We'll talk about
everybody.
anything.
We will talk about anything. First thing I'm going to do is...
Did you go to a virtual red carpet for your movie?
I did go to a virtual red carpet for my movie. It was so I'm in this. First of all, this movie, if you're looking for a break from all of the just actual insanity that is happening in our world, the insanity that is in this movie is just what the doctor ordered. It is, if you're first of all, if you're a Trekkie, this is the movie for you. It has a ton of the old Star Trek actors in it. We couldn't get Shatner. So there's this ridiculous puppet that is the main character. He's a marionette. He's got like you can even see the strings. That's part of the joke. I mean, it's an intentionally bad movie. You know, it's a B movie. It's a classic B movie with a low budget where you can see all the special effects coming. You know, it's that's part of the whole.
You can see the strings.
Right, you can see the strings. Yeah, exactly.
So is the puppet Shatner?
His name is Kirk Stillwood, like Lieutenant Kirk Stillwood, I think is the puppet's name. And because, you know, he's not Stillwood, right? He's moving wood, right? There's a lot of just campy, silly wordplay, sex jokes. Like there's everything in it. Like there's a lot of weird.
And where can we see this? Because I actually have to see this, don't I?
So Todd, you haven't watched. God,
no,
Todd.
I need to. So I'm going to watch it.
I thought you were acting just now, asking questions as if you didn't know what was going on.
I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't actually seen it. God, how have I not? In Hollywood, you know, people get dropped left and right. How have I not dropped you yet, Todd?
I know, you should. You should. I'm terrible.
I can't quit you, Todd.
I will see it. I do support my friends. So where do we see it? That's the next thing. It's called Unbelievable.
It's called Unbelievable with lots of exclamation points. And it is on Amazon. When you search Unbelievable on Amazon, look for the one that has Snoop Dogg on the cover photo, the cover poster type picture.
I'm watching it today.
He's the largest star in the film, although I really shouldn't call it a film. It's definitely a movie.
No, exactly. There's an episode for you. We will tell you the difference. Oh, yeah, well, we should get a list. Is it a film or is it a movie?
Is it a movie? We get So I need to be more, you know, this is one of the things we're going to talk about today, right? Is I need to be better about promoting all of this. And especially because I was in this movie. I am a producer in this movie. And it is the perfect time for a movie like this to be coming out. So go ahead and give it a watch. It's only $4 right now on Amazon. I'm even going to pay for it. Even as a producer, I don't get to watch it for free. So
you should.
I know, but I'm not. It's whatever. It's $4.
No, you should. Yeah, exactly. You should. Yeah.
There's a lot of weirdness that went along into this thing with being a producer that I won't get into, but you know, $4, what are you going to do? What else, Todd? What are we going to talk about today? What's the big topic for today?
Well, the big topic for today is, I mean, it goes with our names. Okay, that intro was terrible.
It was.
I'm sure you were, if anybody, like, just, but we are outsiders looking in. And the topic is being outsiders
An outsider today, right?
with a capital O. Because Seth told me something the other day that's gotten me irate for the past 3 days. So I'm going to leave it to you, and I'm going to spitball. But this is going to get ugly, Seth.
It's going to get real ugly. So this is funny, first of all, because I think this happened to me, but as Todd just said, I think he got more upset about it than I did. Because it was one of those things that I think if I got too focused on it, it wouldn't be good for me. So I had to kind of just keep a healthy distance from it and just let it roll off my back. Nevertheless, it was a valuable lesson, and I think a good thing to consider as, newly minted actors in LA or anywhere, but especially LA. So we talk a lot about these Facebook actor support groups. And one of them is called Talent Managers for Actors and Actresses on Facebook. There's like 66,000 members. Todd is also a member. And people post everything in there, like many actor Facebook groups. There's always monologues. There's always advice and things. People asking for advice generally is what happens. People asking for advice, and then people reply. Well, someone posted looking for advice about auditioning, in particular monologue auditions. And I'll read the question. Do you guys have any advice on how to end self-tape monologues? For me, I think if it ends with an impactful line, then I usually let that be my ending, but sometimes it doesn't. I still try to make the last line strong, and I feel a little awkward with what to do. I may just be overthinking things, though. And, I got to say, some of the folks that posted.
So this is just a question. There's no tape. People don't post monologues.
People do post monologues, yeah.
I stink at social media. So when Seth said that I'm on this site, I joined it because of Seth told me to, and I think I've looked at it once. I don't like social media. I hate it, and I'm an actor in LA, and I have to embrace it. So
necessary evil.
Yes, and if I want to have a successful podcast, I have to embrace it. But moving on, I just wanted to clarify that this particular person did not post a monologue at all. Just a question.
It's just a question about doing monologues for auditions. I mean, she didn't even say for auditions, it's
Correct.
Just a question about doing monologues.
There you go. And go on.
Because that's what people are. Let's talk about that first, right, for a second, because a lot of people are just doing this. They're just posting monologues just to have work out there continually, right? It's not necessarily specifically for anything. And just to give a little background. Okay. So then a bunch of people went through and gave advice, which a lot of it I thought was pretty good.
How many people?
Let's see. 1, 2,
10?
3. No, 3. 3 people gave advice.
That's not a lot. That's 3.
Right. And then I put some advice down. So
you're number 4. And what did you say?
Number 4.
Let's get Seth's advice.
I said, stay in it, keep listening and reacting to your imaginary partner.
Okay.
At the end, so that you can, and then I was going to write something else. I thought I couldn't quite figure out how to word it, and I didn't want to overload this girl. She seemed very, very gracious, and I was going to write something like, whatever you do, don't get in your head about it, and don't worry about making that last line, trying to make that last line super impactful. Let the monologue, let the work take you where it will, and just keep reacting and working off your partner, and don't worry about anything else, because otherwise you're liable to get in your head. I didn't end up writing that. All I wrote was
so that's all great advice. I want to say first off.
Yeah.
But so now let's go back to what exactly did you write then?
That's what I wrote. I just wrote, stay in it, keep listening and reacting to your imaginary partner, period.
Okay. That's all you wrote.
Right. It got 3 likes for what that's worth.
Okay.
And then she wrote, thanks for replying.
Great.
Then the next morning.
Here's where we go. Here we go.
Maybe we should have led with this, buried the lead. So then the following morning, one of the moderators wrote, Seth Austin, if you haven't booked network television guest stars or series regulars, please do not answer questions about what actors should do in auditions. The only people that should be answering questions in this group, TMFA, Talent Managers for Actors, are the industry pros listed in the pinned post. That was the end of what she wrote. But then she commented with a photo. It's actually a screenshot of my IMDb credits, not all of them, some of them, past television. She screenshotted 4 of my television credits and put that as a comment to prove to me that I was not qualified based on the rules of this group to be answering this question. And
so, in all fairness, you did break the rule. Are there rules posted somewhere in this that we
there are rules posted somewhere. Now, after she wrote this, here's where my failure is on a lot of things with anything computer related. I struggle to find the things. Like my brain gets overwhelmed with like, there's all these little tabs.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know, what am I looking for? So I tried like hell to look for the rules. They call it the pinned post, where it would state that I am not qualified to be giving advice like this. Maybe not qualified isn't the right word. Just per the rules, right? That's the rules of this particular group.
You broke the rules.
I absolutely did, and I'm not trying to deny that. What I think is funny is that that those rules are in place to begin with. It's
on a social media site.
Right, on a social media site that anybody could join. I mean, I guess you have to get approved to join, and you have to agree to abide by the rules. And I just don't know why the rules aren't the first thing you see whenever you look at the page. Like they should be the very first thing forefront. But
so only the moderators can comment. No, people can comment as long as they have an IMDb credit.
So that was the other unclear thing, right? As she wrote, if you haven't booked network television guest stars or series regulars, please do not answer questions about what actors should do in auditions. Okay, if she had left it at that, that would make sense. But then she goes on to qualify that, which sort of the qualification she relieves sort of negates it, right? The only people that should be answering questions in TMFA are the industry pros listed in the pinned post. So, okay, so she's got social media is such a whack job place. So
this is my point. This is why I hate this whole thing.
So next to her name, she's got a little shield with a star, which I imagine labels her as a moderator, meaning someone who is allowed to post about people's auditions and things, right? Or in general. So another person has that, but then I go up, let's see, this one person that does not. The first person to post does not have this little shield. So maybe this person, the first person to post just has credits, guest star. And
so are these moderators
credits.
Going every single person that answers a question, then they would have to go to their IMDb page and see. So I am unqualified too, because I've never had a guest star. I've had a co-star, but not a guest star.
Right. Yeah,
I guess friends that have gotten co-stars, but their agents have asked for a guest star credit.
Yeah.
So that on IMDb it says guest star, and I mean you can get a guest star and be cut.
Right.
And you can get a guest star.
You still get the credit. You still get the credit.
And you can have a guest star and end up having one line, which even though you were paid for a guest star, listed as a guest star, you technically could have been hired for a co-star because you only had one line if they would have known how to edit it. That's how effed up this business is. Yeah, that's right. I said F.
Effed up. It is effed up, Todd, because I mean, so when you're going to apply, try to get a house, right? For instance, in this country, you're defined by your credit score. For a lot of things, you're defined by your credit score. Well, here we have that same sort of idea, right? That you're defined by a number in a way. This isn't a number, but it's the same kind of thing, right? It's like, well, I could be a very well-known Broadway actor at posting this, but because, Wendy Elaine Wright looks and sees that I don't have co-stars and guest stars, even though I've got 10 Broadway credits, I'm not qualified to give advice about a monologue. She said that it's about, I'm not.
Okay, my other problem, see, and I told you I'm going to get irate, is that your advice is 101, acting 101.
Exactly.
What you said, and in a way, you might be angry that you even posted it because it's so basic. You could take one acting class as a business major and be able to answer that question is my point. So I'm sorry, I'm just going off. So I want people to know right now out there, I'm flying off of you and me, Seth, is that this is actually though an analogy of how the business works.
Yeah.
The biz, as we keep saying, it's in our email. theoutsidersbiz@gmail.com. Plugged it again right in the middle. But listen, this is a tirade. And I mean, so you don't count here in Hollywood unless you have a guest star. That's the bottom line.
That's
and I've talked to people that have moved. I'm from San Francisco, lived here most of my adult life, got my equity card there, never could get on Nash Bridges. Nash Bridges was the TV show that the first season, all guest stars and maybe even some co-stars came from LA. They wouldn't even cast San Francisco actors for one-line waiters stuff. Also happened with Looking, the show Looking from HBO was all shot in San Francisco. They don't cast local actors, even though it just drives me crazy. You don't have to have any skill to be a waiter. I mean, you only have to have minimal set skill to know the terminology and whatnot. So my point is, I left San Francisco without a SAG card and came down here. And I heard there was another San Francisco actor in my acting class saying, I am so sick of people saying to me, I don't have any credits, because I look at all my credits from San Francisco. And I was rolling my eyes in the sense that, no, Hollywood does not count those. I moved down here from San Francisco knowing that any single thing I did in the city of San Francisco was bullshit, because I never worked on a Hollywood. I didn't work on the movie Milk. I didn't work on Looking. I didn't work on Nash Bridges. I did extra work for Nash Bridges. I did extra work for The Pursuit of Happiness. You know, it doesn't count. Uncredited, nothing. So I'm sorry. I am going to agree with this person's post. I don't even know her name that you said. She is correct. Down here in this bit, you all need to know as you're moving here, you don't, until you book that guest star, you're not in.
Yeah. It's really a shame. I mean, it's, you know, and you know, I was in New York for a long time, right? And in New York, it's a little different. There's still like a sort of a gatekeeper system. It's not so much about guest star and co-star credits, although of course having lots of them in New York will help you. In New York, the best way to start getting your foot in the door is to have gone to one of the top tier graduate programs, Yale, Juilliard, of course, and NYU, and a small handful of others. Which
ACT in San Francisco holds some clout in the sense that they hold the same LA, New York auditions. So when you graduate from these programs, dear listeners out there, they usually have a New York and LA showcase.
Right.
A place as big as Yale. And then, you know, I don't know if the Guthrie has a conservatory, but it's not just New York is what I'm saying. It's those people though, paying all that money and the prestige of their acting schools get to have a showcase in LA and New York in front of casting directors.
In New York, it means a lot there, you know, for better or worse. Like, I think it means something here, but that's, people talk about it. It's a thing. Actors really actively talk about it. Like when you're in the equity room, people say, oh, did you hear about so-and-so? He's leaving for a while because they're going to such and such a graduate acting program. You don't hear about it. At least I don't hear about it as much here in Los Angeles. And it seems like we were just talking about the bigger gatekeeper thing here is to have those credits, you know, and you don't necessarily need that MFA here in Los Angeles to get a good agent and to start getting your foot in the door. You need the credits. Like here, it's like, well, you need the credits to get the credits there. And I think it's a little bit better, at least. I mean, you know, because an MFA program, you're gonna come out of that program a better actor, right? So as much as it is unfair because those programs are next to impossible to get into, like it's a little bit better of a gatekeeper program, but still it's kind of annoying that like it puts you that much ahead of people.
And
just because you went to Juilliard.
Yes, well, but you know, you did study. You know that it's proof. But it's just like Seth and I are saying to you all out there, like these things do matter to a casting director when they see that on. But you better have the chops to sell it. But bringing that up again, my first guest star audition in LA, and okay, I'll say it, I'm an outsider. My only guest star audition was for Vice President Dan Quayle. For that, and I this is how irate I am. I can't even remember the name of the show that's already been airing, but it doesn't matter. So it's a celebrity look-alike. That's all they care about. And I was coached by my acting teacher, and he said, "Now, do not stay focused. Do a good job with your acting, because when you show up, you know, I know right now you're thinking, look, I look a lot like Dan Quayle. They really, really, really need me." He goes, "You're going to show up. There's going to be 20 Dan Quayles in that waiting room." And bottom line was, they're looking for the person that looks the most like Dan Quayle. They're not looking for the best actor. They're looking for the person that looks like Dan Quayle. So this person books a guest star because they look like they're a mediocre actor. They did a really good job with their audition. Maybe they coached and then they got the part, and you shouldn't be getting advice from them. But now they can technically give you advice on this website.
That is a very good point. That is a very good point.
And of course, I'm ranting and we're I don't know. We don't have a lot of, we're not getting emails. We really were begging you at the beginning. So we don't know what people are interested in here, and maybe we're off topic that people would rather us talk about how to do a great monologue. But now I'm a little frustrated thinking we are outsiders and nobody cares what we think, because we've admitted to you that we have neither of us have done a guest star.
Yeah, we don't have those credits. But one thing I did want to cover about what you mentioned before is about the piece of advice that I did give, which you're absolutely right. It was elementary. And the only reason that I wrote what I did is because I looked at the other pieces of advice that had been given. And while I thought that they were very good, they didn't ever mention the imaginary partner, the fact that you're giving a monologue to someone always, right? So from my acting training is all about putting everything on your partner, right? So I thought it was valuable to bring it back to that, even though it was extremely elementary. Do you know what I mean? So I was just trying to add something that hadn't already been said.
I'm getting even more irate. So you were the actual only one that gave, when you're giving social media, a random person out there on the Ethernet that we don't even know exists, or we're being catfished or whatever. You should start with the basics if you're a professional, because you don't know this.
Todd, have you been catfished? Do we need to talk about that?
6 times. One of them this week.
Oh
I am
my God.
so sick of going on dates and they end up being Russian grandmothers.
Let's get back on topic. Russian grandmothers. Oh my God. I want to do a whole episode about Todd getting catfished by Russian grandmothers. But let's put a pin in that. Let's go back to Todd.
Oh, I'm so irate about this whole thing. I really, truly am. I get it too. I totally get it. I hope you understand that we said, this is how the hierarchy system works here in Los Angeles.
So if I'm going to bring it back to a calmer positive note, is that I think this is a good episode because it's going to, hopefully it lends awareness to people out there. It's like this kind of stuff is just a tip of the iceberg about the nonsense, right? I mean, let's laugh and try to be good natured about it, but it's effing nonsense. People you have to put up with when you're out. In defense of this
website, they maybe they started out allowing everybody to give advice,
and it got out of control.
Morons gave advice, so they had to read it. I get it. They
had to find some criteria. They had to find some qualifying criteria so that it wasn't just people throwing the spaghetti at the wall, because that's where you end up with nonsense. Because to their credit, there are a lot of other Facebook groups where, there's this one, I guess he's a director. He calls him, his title on there is visual storyteller. And man, he gives the most nonsense advice. It's just these one-line sort of things that make no sense. And when I asked the guy to clarify, and I asked very calm, cool, I'm just, hey man, I think this is a little confusing. Could you clarify exactly what you mean by this? He never does. Yep. And so this is the way that they've kind of figured out to try to make sure that they don't have clowns like that, posting nonsense advice. So as much as it is nonsense for them to put that as a qualifier, like you say, I also get it.
Here's 2 pieces of advice here's 2 comments you should never, ever, you should almost delete definitely from your brain. If you post a monologue on the interwebs and you ask people to comment on it and somebody goes, oh my God, you were the best actor I've ever seen. You should have your own show. You're so good. And I love the way you do that. Or who cares? Screw you. Same thing if they go, you suck. You should never ever blah, blah, blah. Delete that stuff. Advice is advice. Your advice was awesome because you are awesome, Seth.
Thank you, Todd. And I want to go back to what you said about putting monologues out there. That's give yourself credit for even doing that, because you're opening yourself up to all of the spaghetti being thrown at you.
A world of hurt.
Yeah, world of hurt. So that's an act of. I don't want to get grandiose about it, but it's an act of bravery, I think, in a way.
Absolutely.
To just blindly put up a monologue on Instagram or whatever. I've had good experiences doing it. I've had friends who have posted like, I think very useful advice. I've had some good acting friends call me and we talk about it and things like that. And no one has posted, you know, either response, the over the top, like, oh, you're an acting god. How haven't you booked, you know, all this stuff and you're incredible. And no one has been like, you suck, you should stop acting, you know, which of course I would let roll off my back anyway, because it doesn't, you know, that's people's own hate getting the best of them. Anyway.
So what's the takeaway at the end? I'm exhausted. I can't talk anymore. We got to go. I got to weep quietly for about 5 minutes after we're done.
The takeaway is, you know, take everything. There's so many pitfalls out there. There's so much nonsense that could strike right at your heart and be really discouraging to you as an actor. And this one instance that I just had is, you know, a very small tip of a very large iceberg of things like that. So take everything with a grain of salt, stay level-headed, you know, always go back to your basics, you know, go back to your technique, go back to your support group. I think in this case, like, right, your support group is very important, especially right now. I was looking right before we started this episode, I went through and I looked at like other people's like advice for actors starting out. And and I think one of the biggest ones that struck me was that support group, right? You got to have those people. You got to have your friends, your family. They actually even suggested maybe even hiring someone if you have the money, you know, like a life coach kind of person. And that's a topic for another time. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get where they're coming from, right? If you don't have someone in your life that you can routinely come back to for support, who's got that emotional energy to give to you, then, you know, maybe you hire someone. I don't know. That's interesting.
Well, hiring a life coach, if your family's on the East Coast, you have very small family and you've moved here with no friends, then yes, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it depends on your situation.
And you have the money. But, you know, my personal first advice would be, why don't you make a damn friend?
Right. You get in a class. I think if you have actors in your class that you can be your support group, that's much better. And then your acting teacher hopefully can be your coach, whatever. That's, you know, we've talked about a lot of that stuff already, but
all right.
Stay positive, people.
I got all defensive on you. Seth's my buddy, man. Don't mess with him. Fuck with Seth, you fuck with me.
Todd, you're gonna be my shield wherever I go. I'm gonna bring you along. I'm gonna pay you to be my audition buddy. Actually,
a rant just got me a job, people.
If I had the money to, I would absolutely do that. Hey, Todd, can I pay you for 2 hours to come to my every audition with me and be
for free. I'll give you the first 3 free.
Be my like grounding. That's an interesting side gig for anyone, right? Like,
well, okay, there's a positive note for you. We'll end on this because I know we're going over, but we'll end on this. So if you do go to an audition, the best thing for you to do, because it's going to go great, or generally we all are our harshest critics, make sure you have somebody to have a cocktail with right afterwards, or you go see a movie, or you have your favorite ice cream ready. You know, like do something positive after every audition.
Yeah, I mean, there's
some advice for you.
There's something that I could that's a piece of advice that I could take from myself.
But remember, as I give you this advice, guys, I have never booked a guest star.
And Todd, okay,
take it.
Todd has at least had an audition for a guest star. The closest I have come to having an audition for a guest star is in an acting class where I take an old guest star scene and put it up for an acting class. And
You've never had an audition for a guest star?
I'm searching my memory bank, and I guess it's possible that there was one that I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure that they've all been guest stars.
Ladies and gentlemen,
they've all been co-stars.
This is my last episode with Seth because I can't work with somebody that hasn't at least had an audition.
I just got talent managers for actors and actresses. Is whatever the verb for version of that is. That's what Todd just did to me. Again,
I think we're both going to be off that site if they listen to this episode.
Yeah, I'm going to actually. Yeah, I need to edit out me saying that name before. Hopefully, I've enticed you all to be like, "Oh, what name did he say?" But actually, no, I have to absolutely edit out the person's name. Anyway, I guess that's it for now.
Thanks for listening.
Have a good day, everyone. Stay sane. Get your therapist on the phone. I'm serious. I'm saying this jokingly, but I'm not joking. Take care out there, people. Take care of yourselves. Don't go crazy. Have a good one.